So the broke foreigner them over here, when you can go lie down back. The people that wanna have no money can just lie down back as well. You understand? I'm doing very well, Carrie Ann. How are you? Yeah. You understand? Right now as well. On top of the 5,000 black men look at Airbnb. You understand? Yeah. Want someone for go lie down. For cool out. You understand? Yeah. I need an Airbnb, please, and thanks. Yeah. Well, if money's for your mortgage, go pay your mortgage and go sit in your house, okay? Big up everybody from Grand Cayman. Yeah, you understand me? I want up Airbnb right now, because Airbnb look like Airbnb I give it over here. So I'm gonna need 5,000 blocks now plus an Airbnb. And it's not ABB, by the way. Right? It's Airbnb. Okay? Ladybug, what's up? Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, how you doing?
Okay, boom, viewers, welcome back to the channel. Subscribers, you already know the thing set. We're blessed. You also know the story incomplete. If minute upon the beat and it can see upon the screen. Miss Kitty is definitely watching out Rosealee and a whole bunch of other ghetto people lives. And she's definitely organizing behind the scenes before she come on live and, you know, bring it to on. As you can see, she has styled Rosealee from, you know, having the money to go on the Airbnb. Right? And she's talking about mortgage and all of these foolishness when Rosealee grandmother leave her house for them. You see me, I says, so them don't have to worry about mortgage, you see me. So that me I talk about, you know, she's also talking about it's only Jamaican people acting a fool on the app and no other Caribbean people, and we know that's far from the truth, right? We see one girl named Lola B or wherever get popped because of her mouth on the app, don't you? You know what I mean? And you can see on the screen multiple celebrities of different ethnic background, Christian Rock, all of these people in the scene in front of you, all have them trials and tribulation that them put out and kept away from the public, only to release, you know, the type of abuse that they went through. You know what I mean? And one of the most famous Caucasian shows out there, the Jersey Shore, the Kardashians. Black people don't have no issue with them. Them love and cherish those people, but when it comes to our own, we like to belittle them. And it's unfortunate Miss Kitty is an educated black woman, and she's using her education to belittle black men, right? I need 5,000 black men and all of these things. Why are you saying all of them foolishness to them? You know what I mean? Or they want the people then for come on for TikTok for work for $2 US an hour, right? That's what the hotel workers are getting in Jamaica. And I don't encourage nobody to do that. This is what I said. But we just they want giving a little point of view of the situation. Because you know these narratives that these people put out. It's only set to make poor people look bad. And a lot of poor people need financial help. Because them type of stress contribute to everything else, you know. Remember, Pop, it is I told they used to keep poor people down, you know. But let's hear what Miss Kitty and the IS say. And we'll proceed.
Right? Tapping the screen so we can get up to at least 50,000 or 100,000 rather by the time my guest is to come on. Please tap the screen and share the live. It is free to tap. It is free to share. And the question this afternoon, can parents be bullies too? And in many cases, are parents their child's first bully? Talking about bullying in Jamaica, bullying in schools. Many of you may have realized that by now there have been quite a number of cases. Thank you. Is that Tentacles? Tatiana? Oh my God, Titania. You know, many of them have been, there have been a lot of reports of, you know, persons unaliving themselves. And we're using unalive just because of the platform on which we are right now, right? Persons who have taken their own lives, especially youngsters, you know. And one of the recurring themes in it is the fact that they feel like they've been bullied. When you check it out, they've been bullied and they feel hopeless, they feel apathetic, they don't feel wagwan girl. Thank you to Titanicals and them. Titanicals have our citizenship. I just know she does have our citizenship. There are many children who feel like they're being attacked both at home and at school. And there are many children who are not coping very well. And also, thank you, my love. Thank you, Tati. And a lot of persons are just crumbling under the pressure. We want to talk today about the issue of bullying. What does a bully look like? I mean, you know, oftentimes we've used the word and sometimes we may have used it even loosely, but what does it look like? What does it mean? And also, as parents, what are some of the telltale signs that we can look for or should look for if our children are being bullied and are in need of help? There are many parents who, you know, cast their child's complaints aside. They don't even give it a listening ear, or they don't even take it seriously enough. So what kind of intervention can we make if it is that your child comes home and says, "Mommy or Daddy, I am being bullied at school"? How do we treat with it? How do we deal with it from a ministry perspective? To whom do we speak? Do we go to the principal? Do we go to the teacher? Do we bring it to the Ministry of Education? How do we treat with it? Please, yeah, 5,000 bucks, guys. Let's go. Wagwan K. What up, CC? I will just say this. Some of us are the weapons formed against ourselves. Do you remember the word of the day from the last class? It was accountability. And there are some times in life, some things that happen to you, nobody's doing it to you. You are doing it to yourself. And until we do some introspection, until we develop some intelligence, until we develop some emotional intelligence, until we can see farther than our eyes can see, we will always be in murky waters. Until we can look in and say, "You know, I have a problem. Thank you, Diamond. Wagwan, darling. We need to sort it out. I need to get help. This is not the way to go about it." We're gonna be in murky waters. We all have our problems. Everybody have them sore foot. It's just that some people cover for them sore foot and deal with it neatly and deal with it circumspectly and deal with it, you know. And don't get me wrong, we're not gonna deal with it all the time in the best way, okay? But it cannot be that your modus operandi every time is to, as you guys say, crash out and seek the lowest denomination to express yourselves, especially when children are involved. We have to be careful. As parents, it's no longer just about us, it's also about. We don't always get it right, but as much as possible, we have to stop getting it wrong. And we cannot be wrong and strong and be wrong and basking in it and spread out like a beach towel like everything is okay. This is a playground that can make and break you all at the same time. But I'm also going to charge and levy a charge against those of you who are gifters, some of you who continue to perpetuate and to fuel the destruction of many or some of the people on this app and other apps. Many of the gifters, many of you gifters are enablers, and you fuel the destruction of the very people you claim to love or like. You fuel the destruction of the very people you claim to have their back. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear, let us be fair. Why would I stop bad, degenerative, low vibrational, obnoxious behavior if I am reaping from it? If I am being rewarded for bad behavior, why wouldn't I continue? My God, as a matter of fact, I want to get worse. I want to get worse, sir. Why would I want to stop a behavior that is paying me handsomely? Why would I want to do that? Many of you fuel the destruction of many of the person's hair. Because unfortunately, money is all some of them have. Money is all some of them seem to glorify. Money make the mirror run, of course. And money is very necessary. That's why I want my 5,000 block over here. I'm going to want my Airbnb. But there is more to life than that. Because when you turn off when you click off the live, life gets real. When you click off the live, life gets real. I don't know of any other country or nation or, I mean, to be honest, I'm not on TikTok that much, right? I'm not like, I'm really not like on it so much, right? But when from what I've seen and observed, I don't see nobody else, Caribbean island or country, the people go on some, I don't see it. I don't see it. But why wouldn't I participate in degenerative behavior if it's raking in millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which ordinarily I would not have, which ordinarily I could not earn? Why would I stop a behavior where now if TikTok for come off of the internet, TikTok was supposed to be locked down, many of those people who are earning that amount of money now would have absolutely no way unless they win lotto. Forget them, the breed of money there. The toxic mindset of a lot of the people on this app is fueled by the people
Today is a big day for us here in the education. I'm
right.
actually in Spanish Town where we just opened a new school for our children.
Oh, nice.
Are you
Okay,
hearing me?
fabulous, wonderful. Well, congratulations on yet another
Thank
wonderful
you.
opening. More schools for our children. It's just better for them, better for education, right? But today, Dr. Cassandra, and for those persons, she's the PS Permanent Secretary, correct?
Yes.
In the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We're talking about, I was just telling my viewers that today the Governor General signed into proclamation Anti-Bullying Day, right, across Jamaica. As a ministry, Dr. Truth, because we see where bullying has become very pervasive in the educational space. What is the Ministry of Education doing to stem this problem?
So, Miss Kitty, as you know, the school is a microcosm of the wider society. So what you're seeing in our school is what is coming from the broken communities, broken homes. So there's an increased demand in our schools for us to build out the skill set of our students to respond to acts of bullying, as well as to teach them how to show love. You know, they are not getting this kind of support from home. And so this has to be intensified in our schools. And what have we been doing? We have been championing the call for our principals to lead out on this. Of course, you know, our principals lead the work on the ground as it relates to the implementation of education. We put the curriculum in place and we give them resources and they try their very best to make it work as it relates to their current context. So some people have to pivot very early because some schools don't have this issue, right? In the same way others do. But where you have the issue, said to our principals, let's pause the teaching and learning as it relates to the academics and deal with the social skills. You know what is important to tell Jamaica, Miss Kitty, is that when we surveyed our children, they said to us, we feel safest at school. Even though we have the bullying going on, the children said we are unsafe on our way to school. We don't feel safe in our community, but we feel safest at school. And so we want to preserve that environment and we want to teach our kids to love each other, to problem solve, to report. We want people to seek help. There's something called help seeking behaviors. And so
Right.
we want our young people, if they feel that they are burdened, they feel that they cannot manage a situation, to walk away from that situation and to report. For
So
those
let me
kids who
ask
are
you.
bullies,
Let me ask. Oh, for those kids who are the bullies, finish your thought, please.
right, we are saying to them, this is not the place to take out your anger, your disappointment. We are saying to those who are in charge of the help-seeking behavior practices in our school, identify these students very early and let us start to work therapeutically with them to unpack those ideas of defense, and also ideas of making others feel less than. There's something triggering that, Miss Kitty. That's not a
Yes.
normal behavior. And so
Right.
get into their mindset as well and unpack that and help them to hurdle those challenges so they can display social behaviors that we want in our country.
Many of our parents, Dr. Troop, are also at wit's end. They say, Miss Kitty, I go to school, I report it to the guidance counselor, I speak to the principal and the vice principal, but because me is a poor mother, I'm in a really have no big car, no big job, and I am an ordinary poor Jamaican. It's almost as if my child can't get any justice. Nobody's listening to me. What is their recourse of justice? Because they are not getting any help from the school, and it's almost as if teachers and sometimes the principals or those at the helm are pushing them aside.
Yes, Miss Kitty, we have got that report as well. And I want to say, a part of the challenge is that there's a high level of tolerance in our society for violence.
Yes.
So sometimes our adult leaders, they don't respond. They're like, but we get this every day,
Yes.
this
That
is
not
norm.
nothing.
But yes, but this is unacceptable. As long as somebody is uncomfortable in a space, that is enough for attention to be given to the matter. And so we have said to our principals, do not turn away the issues you deem small. We have to listen and we have to act urgently so the matters can be resolved before they escalate. A child is being traumatized. A child cannot learn. That is not a small thing. And it doesn't matter if the situation seems like a norm to you. Right? We cannot normalize these behaviors in our schools and in our country. We have to go at the core and fix them. And so we have said to parents, if you're not getting justice, if you don't feel persons are listening, go to your regional offices, talk to the Ministry of Education, and we will come in because we know that it is important. If any parent finds the time, Kitty, to call the media or to come to the Ministry of Education, we know it's important. And I'll use your platform to say to our principals, it doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter if you think that child should be able to hurdle a situation like that. If the child is uncomfortable, it is enough for us to act. It is enough for us to bring the parties together and to do all we can in the school with our families to ensure that the children are safe at school and are comfortable. We cannot support any activity that will erode the self-esteem of our learners. The children must believe in their own capacity to shine, and we all have a role to play in that. Each of us, in terms of the peers, your friends, your church, your family, school, everybody must come together to support the development of the child. We're talking about the whole child, not just the maths and English, not just the literacy and numeracy. How the child feels is important. The psychosocial state of the child is important.
I'm happy that you mentioned that, because many adults believe that children don't have feelings. Then for us, go one side, sit down and shut up, and you're lucky and you deal with whatever. But come to know that children are human beings. Children have feelings also. But Dr. Troop, talk to me, because I'm solution driven. I am solution driven, and there are some children who are in need of psychosocial, psychological, some maybe even psychiatric help and evaluation. When it comes, say for example, there is a child who is a disruptor, a purveyor of bullying, year in, year out, day in, day out. What does the ministry do in terms of removing that child, removing that element who may be disrupting learning for both teachers and students of that institution? What is the ministry's position on that?
Well, our position is not to first remove in all cases. It depends on the extent of the issue. But our education regulation allows for temporary suspension of our students, right? But what we ask for is the intervention to be done before we look at permanent separation. So there is a facility for temporary intervention where the child can be asked to be out of school for up to 10 days, right? And then you treat with that, and that, of course, it can be extended to another 5 days. That is already legislated. But that's a temporary. What we want is the minute something comes up, whether the child is being bullied or the bully, those children need to go through therapeutic experiences. So our guidance counselors, our social workers must be the persons who will start working with these young people to understand what is happening, what is triggering this behavior, and how to change that behavior. If it is that the guidance counselor is overwhelmed by this, the ministry has put in place psychosocial services using trained clinicians in our country. Those people who run their private practices outside of the school system that we would not have to pay for. The ministry has gone into partnership right across the country with these clinicians. And we ask that parents, teachers, students use this service. And the government pays fully for the service. As long as there's a need for it, we pay for it. And all our clinicians have signed on to this agreement already. And we work through the guidance councils to refer outside for more technical support for these learners. Plus, we have other institutions, the church that work with them. You know, you have the Peace and Justice Center that works with them, and a number of other social services entities that work with our young people for the psychosocial care. But no child should be turned away, Miss Kitty, before something is done. Nobody is born all bad. Right? The behavior is bad. The child is an individual with strengths and talents and abilities, but there is something challenging that child. How do we tap into that and get that fixed so the child can get back on his or her learning journey? That's the thrust. We don't want to condemn them too early, but we want to rehabilitate in time. That's the thrust, Miss Kitty.
I like that thrust, but also we have to be realistic, Hassan, because some children are just who they are, and no matter the intervention, no matter what you do psychosocial, they are who they are. And at the end of the day, no other parent's child or should be made uncomfortable or made to feel unsafe in any institution whatsoever. Take yours out and let mine stay, because we have tried everything and it is not working. But let me ask you this, Kassan, because also sometimes the bullies are not just fellow class.
We do change environments for some of them, you know. If all else
very well,
we do work out changing learning environments, and we have seen where that has also worked.
Very well. But let me just ask this, because sometimes the bullies are not just their peers, but sometimes the bully might be a teacher, sometimes the bully might be the vice principal, sometimes the bully is actually the principal, because some of our educators feel that they have an awesome power, which sometimes is also abused, and they bully the children, they bully the parents as well, and the parents again and the children feel like they have no recourse or nobody to hear their voice. Is the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is there a line where we can call to say, Miss Troop, Dr. Troop, my child goes to this school, the teacher has been dumbing down my child, go ahead, put on your hand, you feel like you know it all. By the way, Dr. Troop, I saw something the other day where a teacher in a classroom, I am not sure if it is Jamaica, because but it sounded like Jamaica. They were using an example of a situation that is a very live issue right now on TikTok, using it as an example in the classroom. I thought that was very classless. I thought it was wrong. I thought it was uncalled for. It was insensitive, and it was rather unprofessional. In those instances where the perpetrator of the bullyism is the teacher or the vice principal or the principal, how do you treat with that, and what can parents and children do?
All right, so Miss Kitty, it's unfortunate, I must say, that for any of our stakeholders to experience that at any school. It's not the will of the ministry. That's not the plan. Our principals are agents of change, our teachers, agents of change. And the job really is to help for the development of the children. It's real. That's the job. How do we come together in service to our children so they can flourish and thrive? And so there are unfortunate situations in our school. What we try to do is to build out the professional development courses that will help our teachers to treat with difficult circumstances. So we at NCEL right now, we just had graduation yesterday, where several of our principals...
Sorry, Doc. What's NCEL? What's NCEL?
Our National College for Educational Leadership.
Very well.
We just had several principals trained in leading inclusive learning environments. We were looking at special needs and looking at the welfare of children. In our program, of Effective Principals program, there's also a module in that to look at how we work with our stakeholders, how we partner, and how we make the school a learning, child-friendly environment. It's an ongoing process. I do know in some communities, Miss Kitty, and you know this, the teachers are doing everything, and so they are overwhelmed. There are no homes, there are no families, there are no guidance in the home, and so everything comes on the teachers, and so sometimes they themselves break. And they may say things
Doc,
that's
with the
not
greatest of
professional.
respect, yeah, but with the greatest of respect, they have to also maintain that level of professionalism, especially
I
as
agree
trained
with you.
individuals. And so I know we all fall short, but in the same way,
Yes.
we are going to hold the parents accountable. We're holding the children accountable. We have to hold our
Yes.
educators accountable
I
because they
agree.
have many
I agree.
lives in their hands.
In their hands. I agree. So we do that through the professional development. We do that through the intervention. And we also make counseling services available for them because they are human
Yes.
beings and they do go through personal issues and they are tested. These children will test you to the top.
Yes. To the hilt.
But at the end of the day, we are the adults and we have to stay in control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, people, I'm not going to long on this no longer because I said a lot in the beginning. You see me, so if you want more bagga mix up swing for my credible boss channel, you see me, I say, God, I'm say Ivany, proposal, disaster. And one girl rushed me because she want her money back. You see me, I say, so do the right thing and subscribe to all of my platforms and turn on the notification bell, you see me? Bless.